Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Hello.
Now it's way better. All right, that's cool. That's
Oh,
great.
good, good, good.
Sorry. Let me just turn on the video. Cool.
Perfect.
Got it going. Nice. Nice, nice.
This is
Sorry.
not, do you know what? I'm not even going to edit out much of this. I'm just going to let it roll because this is exactly what podcasting with two comedians is supposed to be. Yeah.
Okay.
Two
Yeah,
people who had,
technical problems and stuff. Yeah.
we finally made the machine go. Yes, straight out the gate. I obviously through TikTok, I spotted you. I was like, this
Yeah.
is an absolutely nailing it because people try, but they never, but it's like, great trying out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, which one did you see
Well,
first?
the one that caught me first was it was you talking to you, and it was Irish traits of how people actually interact in public, and the other you was absolutely terrified. It was like,
Oh,
oh Jesus
right.
Christ,
Yeah, the
they actually smiled.
introvert. Yeah. That's a big culture shock. Like every time I go to Ireland, that's like one of the biggest thing for me. Because I grew up in the city.
And it's just not looking at each other. What is the? Are you from Singapore originally?
No, I'm in China actually. I'm from China. I was born and
Oh,
raised here in China. Yeah. Actually never been to Singapore.
oh, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Why did I think you were in? Where did you? Where are you then?
I don't know. To you people, China and Singapore is like tomato, isn't it?
No, no, it's not. No, not at all. But for
No, I know, I know.
some reason, I thought you
Yeah.
were. Where are you then?
I'm in Shanghai actually.
Shanghai.
Yes. I
I
live in Shanghai.
I could go back through my messages and Singapore came up. Isn't that funny? I wonder was somebody tapping in and going, no, no, we'll say she's from, you know. Was it
Yeah, it's all the same.
so
It's
Shanghai,
like, yeah, yeah.
that is a place I've always wanted to go. My brother-in-law just came back from there. And he was like, yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah. He's over there
For
a
a
lot
visit?
with no work. He's over there a lot with
Oh,
work. But
what did
it's
you do?
something to do with computers. Way more technical than me anyway.
Something community. Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
ask. I just nod and go,
Yeah.
okay, he knows there's no point in telling me what he does. Do you know, there's no point.
Yeah.
There's
Wow. That
nothing.
must be really technical.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's been going a long time, so I think it's he has built a good relationship. So like whatever company he's working with in Germany, I know that the two back and forth. He loves it. He loves it. No kids, no wife, no nothing. He's like, yeah, off to Shanghai. He loves it.
That your younger brother or older brother?
Oh, brother-in-law,
Oh, sorry,
my wife's
brother-in-law.
brother.
Sorry. Oh,
He's
all right.
older. This is a guy that those guys that'll never get married. Just no, or never never settle down properly. Is like this is way too
Yeah.
much fun. But
Is that too much for Irish people? Is that very like unconventional or?
it is but I think it's
Yeah.
getting more and more. No, do you know? I say unconventional, but if you actually looked around the countryside, there's a lot of bachelors, unmarried men who have they were probably the youngest in the family. We were only talking about this the other day. The youngest in the family, they kind of ended up staying with the parents to mind the farm. And now they're in their like 50s and life has kind of passed them by a bit. And they're like, oh, all right. And now my parents are dead. And now I've got the farm,
Yeah.
but nothing else but a dog. So there's a lot,
That's interesting.
yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot where life is just passing them by because they were the last and they just kind of had to look
Yeah.
after the family business or whatever it was. But now everybody else has moved to cities or moved away and they're the ones left holding the thing. There's actually within like 4 or 5 kilometers of where I am right now, there's got to be like 20 guys and we've moved back from Dublin. We've moved out of Dublin back to rural Ireland. There's got to be 20 guys. So if you know any women who are, looking for a guy with land and money,
All right. Um, let
this
me
is
think about it.
there was a
In
genuine look.
Shanghai, maybe not so many that would just go to a rural Ireland place to farm.
Hold
That's
on.
gonna be hard, I'd say.
Hold on. You literally did that in one of your videos.
I did, but the thing is, I don't live there. I
Yes.
live in
Yeah.
Shanghai.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like to make me move to a farmland, like that might be one of the like that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be really hard. I'm gonna find it really difficult to just like live my life there because I grew up in the city.
Yeah. but and
Yeah.
a busy city too. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
And
not
there's a
a
lot to do in the city. You know, you go downstairs. I have 2 Starbucks right downstairs, like 2.
why have one when you can have two? Of
I
course,
know,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So that's kind of, yeah, it's always hard. Like whenever I go to Ireland, that's like one of the things. Because my husband's from a farm.
Yeah.
So whenever I go to Ireland, I just find it super quiet. And as what my sketch was saying, like neighbors just drop by, just like in the morning, whatever. Like they don't care if you're in your pajamas or whatever. They just drop by for a tea.
Yeah.
Like if they take out the biscuits, oh, it's gonna be long. It's gonna be a long
Cancel your
visit.
plans. Cancel your plans if you've
Yeah.
got the biscuits. Isn't that ironic that you are from such a populated place, but yet less people talk to each other? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's why. Because when you're like growing up to so many people around you, like people are just like the most normal thing in
Yeah.
your eyes, right? So you're just like that. It's like
Yes,
you
yeah.
had enough.
You're just
Yeah.
dead to all the people. You're
Yeah.
like, you're right,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
exactly. And also I think in the city, maybe you're gonna be worried about you're gonna get scammed if you talk to stranger.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that kind of
okay.
thing. Right? So you try to avoid people on the road, especially, and you don't know, like in the city, people are like unhinged. Sometimes you don't know who's crazy, so you don't want to, yeah, you don't really want to talk to people and make eye contact. Actually, I'm originally from northeast of China,
All right.
so that place is kind of bordered with Russia,
Yes.
and our people are known for just being aggressive. Like sometimes, yeah, sometimes like you walk
Like
on the street in like where I'm from, like you walk on the street and you look at a man, like you could have a fight. Like
like
we're
Cork.
like the Russians of China, It's just literally, yeah. So you don't make eye contact, and literally, well, our famous like people, how do you say? Like it's like a saying, like people in where I'm from, if you look at them, they will say, "What are you looking at?" Like they would literally say that to you. Yeah.
Okay, that's literally the town I went to school in. That's literally
Yeah.
Tipperary town. It was like, and you look at anybody, it's like, what are you looking at? What? Yeah,
Really? But
yeah.
Irish people are so friendly. Like whenever I walk on the street, I see Irish people, like we make eye contact. It's always like, hello, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
So
To be
yeah.
fair, I think there's a deep rooted history and kind of clan like behavior. Especially Irish people with Irish people, they feel they have to be nice because for 800 years you were locked behind closed doors of the British, and then all of a sudden it's open. It's like, oh, say hello to everybody, because
Do you
for
mean you don't say hello to each other before that?
no, I don't. Well, we probably no, it wasn't. It wasn't overly allowed. It wasn't overly allowed. Congregations of people and stuff like that wasn't. It wasn't overly appreciated. Like our own sports, all that, any of our
Yeah.
culture was all kind of washed away to a degree. So they weren't really allowed to do much of their own thing. So as soon
Yeah.
as the gates were opened in like 1920 or whatever it was like, oh, great, we get to have a great time.
I also think maybe the reason you guys are really nice to each other is like everybody.
That's it.
Everybody knows her. If you're
Yes.
an asshole, like the whole village
Yeah.
knows you're an asshole. Like,
That's
oh, he didn't even say hello to me last time. Like it's probably something like that.
There's
Yeah.
definitely that when there's only 5 million people. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not, yeah, that could be how many people are in Shanghai? Like
That's the population. That's the population of my apartment building. No, no.
2 Starbucks. You need 2 Starbucks for 5 million people. Yeah.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
true with only 5 million. And when you think that like there is quite it is a small country, but like Britain is only time and a half the size and they've 90 million. So
All right.
so there is an anonymity in numbers. Whereas here, as you just said, you kind of have to wave at everybody, even if you don't know them, because they're probably related to somebody you know. And it'll say,
Yeah.
oh, that bastard.
Yeah.
That bastard.
I know.
He thinks he's a big shot now. Yeah, fine.
Yeah. We have like 27 million in Shanghai. I think
In
25
good God.
to 27. Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah. And it's like I don't even see my friends like sometimes, it's very impossible you run into people in this city actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of impossible. Like you feel pretty, like for me, you feel pretty free. You walk on the street one day,
I
you're just like,
suppose, yeah.
you don't have to talk to anybody, like you can just be, if you want to be a shit, like a piece of shit today, then you just like be a piece of shit. Yeah, I think that's actually really liberating. But in Ireland, you do feel more like I feel more like I have to kind of say because I'm the only Chinese in the village, so it's
That's the
like,
name of your sitcom. That is the name of your sitcom. That's the name of today's show, everybody. The only
I
Chinese in the
know,
village.
yeah. So it's like like I don't know who. I think everybody knows me, even I don't know anybody. Still, I walk on the street or the country road, then people look at me. They're like, I know, I know
Yeah.
that Chinese woman is married to somebody's son. Like that kind of stuff.
It's a good shot in the dark that that it hasn't happened too many times in the area. They're like, oh no, you've the wrong Chinese girl there. No, she's actually married.
No,
No, this
that's
is not.
true. That's true. I'm the only one. Yeah, for sure.
The
Like even the Chinese restaurant in Ireland, like probably a lot of them not owned by Chinese.
no,
Like,
no,
yeah, no, not at all.
no,
Yeah.
not at all. You ask them, you're like, and where are you originally from in China yourself? Oh no, I'm from Thailand. Oh, fair enough. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
It's yeah, but when was so your husband is Irish. Where in Ireland?
He's from a village. He's from a place called it's kind of close to Galway. It's like an hour drive. The village is called Caltra.
Oh
Do you
yes,
know the
yes.
two hurlers? Manians,
Yes.
Park Manian and Kaha Manian. That's his brothers.
Oh, wow. Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Right.
yeah,
Sears hurling
they're his
stock.
brothers.
Okay. Right.
See, everybody knows everybody. It's really
To
it's
be fair,
basically, yeah, like you walk on the street and you're like, even you are driving for like 3 hours and you meet somebody, then I see like sometimes my husband talk to somebody. Then within 5 minutes, they're already like, okay, I know your mom's cousin, like that kind of stuff.
it
Like
is
always.
it is
Yeah.
ridiculous to the point that my wife, she's originally from Dublin, and I'm rural, and even Christ, Tom, is there any connections you don't have? I'm like, nah, no, things can just be random. She's like, really? And literally,
Yeah.
like I was doing
Yeah.
warm up for a TV show last night in Dublin, and like five people in the green room, there was an immediate connection between, oh, my uncle used to mend radiators for cars down near you, and he worked with your father. Oh, and it was,
Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
my God. And
That's exactly.
yeah,
Every time like we go out with my husband's family, like his dad's name is also Tom. Like Tom knows everybody.
of
Like we
course.
can drive 4 hours in Ireland. Tom still like just shaking hands. Like as soon as he get off the car, he starts to shake hands with people. Like, geez, how are you doing? Like he's like shaking hands with everybody. It's
So,
just like pretty crazy, I think. Yeah.
so clearly, this is the one, the question because in fairness, you're nailing the accent, but you obviously had good English before you met him. But
Yes.
when he started speaking, were you like, what version of fucking English do you have? Because this is not fucking over.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. First of all, like I remember when we first started dating, then he was saying things uh like car. He would say care.
Because the west of Ireland does say
And I
care.
was like,
Yeah.
what is care? Like he just makes you question your English level, like very, very much. And till the other day, he met one of my best friends. She's from Australia. Then he said something like he was saying something like, "Oh, I have a care." Then my friend turned to me and said, "What is care?" Like she looked so confused. I'm like, "Okay, it's not me. It's not just me. Okay, that's
Care.
good." Yeah, care or mark, right? Like retired. Like he just like say all these things.
Yeah. We tend to go a bit hard. There's no softness, especially in the west of Ireland accent. There is no softness. They go hard on all their R's. Yeah, they go,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, care. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can see the
And they pronounce S often as
SH.
SH.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense. Nowhere else in
like
Ireland. Nowhere
mush.
else.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I,
no. Oh, really?
yeah, nowhere else in
That's
Ireland,
just West.
west. And for some reason, like I remember
Oh.
I was in Andorra a couple of years ago skiing, and we were in the airport going there, and there was two Galway guys beside me. They're going, "Well, boys, are you going skiing?" I was like, "What?
Yes,
You going skiing?" I
yes,
was like, "Yeah, we're going
yeah,
skiing. Yeah, yeah."
yeah. Like shellfish stick, like
A shellfish stick. There's yes, perfect.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and was he in Shanghai when you met him?
Yes, we met in
Right.
Shanghai. Yeah.
Because yeah, and how does an Irish fella convince you that it's a good idea? Come on, come back to Ireland with me. Because I mean, imagine the culture shock was like, okay, there's just cows. That's it. Nowhere else. There's nothing.
Yeah, but it's really funny. Like, because 2010, I went to Ireland for the first time for a job.
All
So
right.
I was working at a TV station as a host, and we were filming in Ireland as a travel show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was my first time. Then 2014 in Shanghai, I met my husband. Then I was like, "Oh, you're Irish. That I've been to Ireland." Like, 'cause it's so hard to meet an Irish person in China.
Yeah.
Because like you've been to Ireland and then you really liked the country. Then you want to talk about this country with somebody, but nobody here, like people here, they don't know anything about Ireland. Like
No, why would they?
most people still think it's like England,
Yeah.
like that kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I met my husband and I said, "Oh, you're Irish." Then I was like, "I've been to Ireland." That's how we started talking. Yeah.
Ah, right, right. And
Yeah.
then he had to explain hurling to you, and you're like, what?
Yeah. I was like, "What?" And they don't get paid. Like,
Yeah. They
yeah.
almost kill each other and they don't get paid. And 80,000
No.
people will go and watch them and pay tickets, but they still don't get paid.
I know.
I
That's
know.
like unbelievable for me. Like, especially for Chinese people. We're very, I wouldn't say materialistic, like we are, but like most Chinese parents would send their kids to do some sports only because that sports has a future, would make money for the kids. Like, that's the only reason they will ever let their kids do sports.
Right.
Yeah. So going to Ireland, like hurling and Gaelic football, is just something that I just wouldn't understand. It's like, wow, you guys would kind of, for example, you would just like find a job as a teacher
Yeah.
because it has so many holidays and you have time to train.
Yeah.
And no matter what did you study in college, you study like engineering or science, whatever, then you just like, I'm gonna be a primary school teacher, and because I want to play the sports that doesn't pay me at all.
Yeah.
Like for Chinese people, it's just like, wow, that is very noble and passionate. Like it's really beautiful. But in the other way, it's like, how like how does this work? Yeah, it's really hard for me to understand.
It wouldn't work anywhere else because you can stay, you see, once if you make, say, county level or whatever, you're kind of made on a social level in your local
Yeah,
area forever, really. So,
that's true.
and your family's pride immediately is all that matters because it becomes very parochial. So other than that,
That's true.
because as you said, like it is. I've never heard it said as being noble, and it is. But they've never, and the option was put to them a couple of years ago. Like, did you want a petition to go professional? They were like, nope. And this is the major players. They were like, no, it would ruin the sport. And before you know, then they'd be, money would become the main goal rather than actually playing for
Yeah.
where you're from. So then guys would start transferring to different counties for more money. And they went, no, no, no.
Yes.
And before we know it, it's out of control. And the whole ethos of the sport, it will be gone. The sport should be first before money. And it's like, oh, actually, that's kind of cool. Fair enough.
That's another thing that Irish people always kind of like impress me. Like Irish people don't care about money at all.
Not really. No,
Like you do, but not like that. Yeah. Like you would have, like you were like, oh, I'm not selling my soul for a little bit, like for even a lot of money.
it's weird. I was among some people last night that were wealthy people, and it still shocks me. It's like, oh, you're okay to just show your wealth. It's like, oh, right, that's a bit odd. It felt a little uncomfortable. It's like, in that moment, it was like, why would you do that? Why would you be bothered showing your? Yeah, but this was the scenario that it was, and it's a very un-Irish scenario, is what it was. But
Yeah.
typically, I mean, you meet millionaires and you'd never know. You're like, well, okay, you're driving a 14-year-old car, just going, yeah, still works. Why would I? Because the feeling too also that would come from British rule from a long time, whereas you kept your head down below the parapet, because if you were seen to have done better, you would be charged more rent on your land, essentially. So you kind of went,
All
no,
right.
I'm just going to stay in my lane. I'll be all right. And it's getting less and less with the Conor McGregors of this world, going, oh, you fucking made a loads of money, But the reality is that it's still kind of frowned upon to be showing your wealth. It's like, it's seen as being a bit grotesque. Come on now. Come on.
Isn't that weird that like Ireland is like way more socialism
Yeah.
than like
Yes, that
we're
is funny.
supposed to be the socialist country.
That is funny. Yeah, yeah. When it's
Yeah.
capitalism, while it is here, we allow that in small sections of the cities. But realistically, that was the thing my wife noticed when she moved here. She goes, "Oh, there's no class system at all here, because we're all the same. If you have no money or you've loads of money, it doesn't make a difference. You're still support the same team. You still go to the same one bar. You know what I mean? That's it. There is no class system whatsoever. Like, so."
That is so true. Yeah. Which is really beautiful. Like you guys like kept, it's like stay real, kind of like that.
We're
Like in
hipsters.
China, we love money. Everybody's like, we live for money.
Yes.
Everybody.
Isn't
Yeah.
that funny?
We even have a money god. Like we have a money
Yes.
god.
Yeah.
We pray to money god. So it's like we just love money. So I think in that sense, when I go to Ireland, like what I see is like it's such a culture shock when people just like really don't care about money, or like whatever brands you're wearing, your purse, what kind of brands of purse. Like in China, people would be looking at, oh, he's wearing like Louis Vuitton bag, or like this kind of stuff. Yeah.
But to know, to what avail? Like, to what do you win by being the best dressed in public? You don't really win anything. Nobody's going high five, coming,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess in China it's a little bit like, because we just thinking about it, in the past 20 years, most of us were just elevated to middle class.
Right. Yes.
Because we were kind of poor before, but now it's like it's a rich country just now.
Yes.
So we're at the stage that everybody's still kind of like they just got money, and people are still at the stage of like, I'm showing off.
That was like the early
or I'm treating myself. A lot of girls are like, I'm treating myself with this really expensive bag.
Right.
Because I worked hard, like that kind of thing. Yeah. But for me, it's like, yeah, I don't really care that much about those. Yeah.
It was funny. We had that period for about 6 years in Ireland between 2002 and 2008.
Yeah.
And we all went crazy like that. We went skiing. We did, and got all excited, think we were all really rich, driving around in Range Rovers. And then all of a sudden the recession happened. And you know what? In a lot of ways, culturally, it was the best thing ever, because we all went, fuck. Right. Yeah. Oh, what are we? Yeah, that was stupid, actually, wasn't it? Yeah. No. Yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
No. Fendi hand. No. That's fine. It's fine. We don't need Gucci sunglasses. It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know if you watched Louis C.K.'s the Governor clubs that special.
Yes.
That one got released. Then he was talking about selling a golden watch. I don't know if you remember
yes.
that.
No, I don't. But I know the one you're on about. Yeah, sorry.
He was like, he's like selling gold watch. He was like, that's just the most stupid idea of buying it. Like, I should have a golden watch. Like,
Yeah.
Then when you're selling it, people know you're broke.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember that bit. That was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
My in-laws were they were somewhere in China years ago, maybe 12 or 13 years ago. I remember them telling me, and they were invited. It was through friends of theirs from Dublin who were Chinese, and they said, "Would you come to this party?" And they knew him for years. "Would you come?" It was somebody's birthday party, like a grandmother's 80th birthday party, and it was in this big restaurant.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, what do you bring an 80-year-old for her birthday?" Do you know what I mean? Like, in Ireland, it's a fucking scarf. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you bring? They're like, "Oh, money." I'm like, "What do you mean, oh, money?" They were just give her some money. Just, what's an 80-year-old going to do with the money? Like, it doesn't matter. Just give her money. They're like, okay. And they kind of,
Oh,
and that's what it was. It was just everybody just kind of went, here's an envelope with some money, Nana. There you go. She's like,
yeah.
nice one. And it was just this huge, big floating restaurant on a river somewhere. And they were like,
Yeah,
but
that's what we do here.
they felt guilty because they were like, well, there's nothing personal. Like, it's the same as if the same present as everybody gave you. Like, there was absolutely nothing personal in it. And they felt guilty. They were like, fucking hell, money. Here, okay, if that's what you want. But they wanted to, do you know what I mean? They wanted to do something personal from their point of view. But nope, Nana wants money. And that's all she wants. It was like, okay, is she going to the strip club or something? What does Nana want money for? I put,
Yeah, that's the thing. A red envelope.
yes,
That's our
yes.
thing. It's called 红包.
Humbao.
Yeah, it's called 红包. So like Chinese New Year, you give kids that.
Oh,
And wedding day, you give the couples that. It's like what Irish people put money in the cards.
yeah.
That's our cards, but you don't write write anything. You just like put things on in the 红包. It represents good luck.
Okay.
Yeah, and
it
poor
represents
birthdays and all that. Yeah.
It represents tax avoidance by the looks of things. It's all cash.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
when did you take up stand up, or when did you take up comedy, I should say?
I've always been really like, I just love comedy. I
Yeah.
watch so much stand-up comedy. So I started in China, started off translating, subtitling Western comedy.
Right.
Then I post on social media, and I got some followers. Then 2019, I did this funny wedding speech,
Okay.
and that was obviously at our wedding. And I did a funny speech. Then I posted it on Chinese social media, and just went absolutely viral.
And this was at your wedding. That's brilliant.
Yeah, then that's when people are like, you really should just do stand-up comedy. You should try it,
Yeah.
at least. Because one of my friends, he's a pretty well-known Chinese comedian. So he was like, let me sign you up. Then he signed me up an open mic. Then that's how I started.
Brilliant. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice that somebody actually because it's a kind of a lone wolf scenario that somebody actually put their arm around and went, no, you should give it a go. And here, I'll get you started. Because standing around the back of the room kind of going, okay, I'll give it a go. And nobody is giving you any encouragement because fuck you, basically. And
it's also kind of like, and also everybody think they can do it. Like a lot of people like, especially when they're watching an open mic, then they're like, there's a lot of people are really shitty up there. Like, I can do better. Like, that's how you feel. That's why people sign up for comedy. Then they sign up, then they go up stage, then they're like, they did terrible. And then they're like, okay, it's not that easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like you're going to throw up. It's just, you're nervous. The lights are too bright. You can't see anybody. You're like, why aren't they laughing? It's just like that kind of stuff.
It doesn't make any sense if you put it in somebody's head. You're like, oh no, we want you to stand up there for an allotted time, make strangers laugh who are sitting in the dark, and you're the brightly lit one. Does that sound like a good idea? And you're like, no, that sounds like a terrible idea.
I know. Yeah.
And did you get a chance to do any stand up when you were here?
No, actually. This summer I went to Ireland, and I kind of contacted a few comedy clubs. Not two. I didn't even try.
Yeah.
I Instagram DM'd 2 clubs. Then one of them called the Crack Den. The Crack Den.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they responded. Then they said, "Oh, we don't have any spots. Like, would you send us one of like your work or anything like that?" So I sent them my stand-up link. Then they're like, "Oh, we know you. We watch your stand-up." And I was like, "Oh, that's great." Then they said, "Actually, we do have a spot, like July 29th or something. I said, no, I can't do it because my sister-in-law's wedding is that
Yes.
time.
Right.
So I was like, I can't. And then they said, but we have one spot in like Christmas, like December. So I think I will try that. I will try that this time when we go back to Ireland for Christmas.
Yeah, that's a lovely club. It's right in the city center too. Like
Nice.
the boys Eddie and Damo have that. It's a nice spot, and they have the great thing about it. I think if you're there over the weekend, I think they're running 4 or 5 shows over the weekend, so you could get in all 5 of them. Yeah, you could get in there all 5 of them. You know, it's a nice spot. It's exploded again here in Ireland since after lockdowns and all that. There's fucking clubs everywhere. Even in like rural places now, like I've opened a club here. Christ, it's sold out every single month. It's ridiculous. And about to open another one just in Limerick City. So it's taken off huge. I don't know. I guess people were just locked in for that long, and all they did was watch every comedy special there was. And went, I'm now into comedy.
That's very interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting because I think normally when economy is going down, people are more into entertainment for some reason, like movies, entertainment, showbiz. It's always booming when economy is going down.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I remember reading that before. It's like, it makes sense though. People need that little pick me up. It's like buying that handbag for yourself. I deserve to have a laugh. I deserve to.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And what's the comedy scene like in Shanghai then?
It's very interesting. So in China, doing comedy, you have doing licensed legal comedy. You have to submit your script. I'm not talking about TV. Like, sure, a lot of places you go on TV, you do like 5 minutes bit. You have to submit your script and make sure you don't have cursing or anything like that. But like I'm talking about just like offline, even open mics. You need to submit your script.
A script?
Yes.
What if
you need to write down all your jokes. You write it down and you video recording yourself reading it out. Then you submit it.
Submit it to who? The comedy gods?
It's called Cultural and Travel Bureau. So they are in charge of all the entertainment, showbiz, and all those content, all those stuff. Yeah, so you have to submit to them, and they vet it. Then they're like, okay, these scripts are fine. Just don't say anything. Yeah, you can't say fuck, shit. It's like the 7 words. It's like the George Carlin's 7 words. You can't say any of those words, obviously, and you can. There's so many things you can't say.
You can't speak ill of China, clearly, obviously, as well.
Oh no, for sure not. So most people, that's licensed show.
Wow.
If one day they found out that one of your comedians says something that's out of the script.
Yes.
I'm talking about the content could be just safe. The content could be just safe, but it's not submitted. Then they can fine the club for a lot of money. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Okay, yeah. I would never get a gig in Shanghai.
A lot of people,
Oh my God.
I think that's the problem. You don't see a lot of international comedians coming to China to perform.
Do you know what?
They go to Hong Kong, but they don't come to the mainland. Yeah.
Do you know what? Just because I'm told, because you're telling me it's difficult, now I want to do it. Now I want to submit a script and everything. I would.
Yeah. Well, it's basically, just clean material. If you're gonna come to China, like depends on how long you want to do. You want to do a headliner or a spotlight show, right? Maybe 30 minutes. Then just prepare 30 minutes. Yeah.
Wow. But I love the notion of submitting it. Like what Jesus. I didn't think that there was obviously I knew there was that level of control and interest, because even we were talking by message over going, we might have to use Microsoft Teams, Tom, because Zoom might be a little dodgy. And even I noticed right as we started recording, I noticed first time in 3 years of using Zoom, I noticed my screen on my side here just started flashing for about 3 seconds. Yep. Never seen it before. Yeah. Never seen it before. Yeah. So
that could be a consequence, but yeah.
I hope we're getting tapped into right now. I feel
No, they don't have control over Zoom though, so that's
no.
fine.
I think Zoom is out
No,
of the Netherlands or
yeah,
someplace like that. Yeah,
yeah.
but I you
Yeah,
know
but
what?
that's the comedy scene here, and it used to be really booming, like international lineups coming here sometimes. Um, but those are unlicensed shows,
So how does that
you
work
know.
then? Could the cops
Those
bust down the door?
underground. It's
Oh,
on the ground, so everything's on the ground, and like there's yeah, that's the comedy scene there here. Like I don't want to say too much here because I don't want to get into any trouble.
of course, yeah.
But yeah, that's
That's
how you do comedy here. If you want to make legal, legit money in comedy, that's how you do it.
so how is the likes of where say you posted your video, your wedding video day one, how are you allowed to post then if that's the case? And it's or can it be just pulled down if it isn't deemed
You can
applicable,
post, like for example, the shows I did. Like most of them I posted or underground shows before.
right.
Yeah, so they can, as you can tell, you can't really tell where the venue is.
No, 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 no.
No, so there's no club name on the wall or anything like that. So that's fine. And as long as there's nothing really controversial or
Yes, right.
political or anything like that, then it should be fine.
That's so interesting. And you're
Yeah,
allowed then to, so I suppose from a personal point of view, then when you put up your wedding video, could that potentially
yeah,
be pulled down? Like, oh, come on
that's
now.
fine. That's totally fine. The wedding video is totally fine because that
Right.
is not a gig. That is not a paid gig or anything. That's your private. That's your wedding. That's fine.
Now,
Yeah.
maybe we should just get you dressed up in a wedding dress and just get you gigging,
Yeah.
gigging wherever you want, saying whatever you want, going, I'm
I'm
continuously,
just divorcing a lot. Yeah, this
this
is a
was a
different
long
husband.
wedding. It was a long wedding.
Yeah. Every weekend, I'm marrying every weekend. Yeah.
That's incredible. Wow. But you because I mean, I don't believe the lads in the Crackdown will require a script. That
No, I hope not.
I would be
Yeah.
amazing if they sent and went, what is this? I
No,
can't.
you cannot talk about how small your husband's penis is. It's like that kind of thing. Yeah.
But
Uh,
that's it. You won't get because and the great thing, like, because clearly, see, I knew when I was watching, went, oh, she has some background in it had to be something in production of some sort, because you can dick about with whatever you want when you're, making your own sketch. But I was like, oh, this is really well cut together. Like, especially like the two chatting with each other, brilliant, nice and fast, and finish with a good punchline. And then even the milking the cows ones, where you went milking the cow, it's fucking great.
yeah.
It was honestly, you should submit it all part of. You should submit that to like Ear to the Ground. It's a TV show here, agricultural TV show that I guarantee that Tom, your
I
father-in-law,
know.
loves. Maybe leave off the
Yeah.
punchline at the very end. Maybe leave that off. No, okay, leave it in and see what they say. I'm not ruining it for people, but it finishes. A sketch is how sketch. A lot of people miss that point in a sketch. It's still supposed to be a joke throughout with a punchline at
Yeah.
the end, and a lot of
Yeah.
people just let
Yeah.
their sketches peter out, whereas you have a
Yeah.
punchline at the end of yours, which was mwah, perfect. Like that's exactly what you're supposed to say at the very end of it. I would love to see Ear to the Ground. Okay, we
Yeah.
have one in from a Chinese lady who's farming down in the west of Ireland. Let's watch it here now. Oh,
Yeah.
she's really getting it, lads. Let's see how. Oh God.
Yeah. I think a lot of Irish people were really laughing about that video.
Well, it's
I
perfect.
think
It's
it's kind of like
fish out of
Chinese
water stuff.
people.
Like, yeah, it's
Yeah. It's like in China, on social media, you see all this viral, like foreigner, like expats, viral videos on social media. It's always this, like a foreigner in China trying some super spicy food, or
yeah.
like those kind of like experience stuff. It's kind of similar. People like to see somebody from a totally different culture to try something that you're familiar with. Yeah.
Or the one I see the most like that is like, do you know, a guy who looks like me sitting in a restaurant speaking perfect, like actually with the dialect and an accent and everything. Like, what the fuck, like in that, and that
Yeah.
seems. I suppose it would blow you away if all your life you never met
Yeah.
somebody who can speak the exact, but the guy has their accent and everything. So they're like, what? How does, so it's this. I think the you milking cows was far superior because when would an Irish person ever see that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we do have South Africans, we have Australians farming here, like and stuff, but you will never get somebody from China going, right, let's get after these cows.
That's true. That's true. I was thinking, what's next? I might do one in Christmas. I don't know what else I could do.
Well, there's surely
Yeah.
a tractor that can let you drive.
Oh,
Yeah, you got
I
to do
need a
something with a
license for
tractor.
that.
No, you don't.
Do I need a license?
No,
No.
no,
Oh,
no,
wow.
no. No, you can drive it on the
Try
farm
that.
with their permission. You can drive it on the farm. It's not a public
Oh,
property.
wow.
Yeah, don't worry about that. We've made loads of sketches with friends who couldn't drive anything with tractors.
Really?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Wow.
Don't worry
That's
about it.
cool. I might try it. I might try it, actually. Yeah.
It's the perfect opportunity. Like it's Dawn tries another Irish silliness. Dawn hurls. That's what we want to see. Actually,
Harold,
yeah, Dawn plays hurling.
I tried a little bit. Hurling is so hard.
It's
I like
ridiculous.
it's just
Ridiculously
well,
hard.
the first time I was watching it, I was like, how do people even manage to see the ball? Like it's so
Yeah.
small and it's like traveling in that speed and so far away, they just catch it. I'm like, how do you even do that? So I tried it in my husband's yard and I tried catching the ball. It hurts your hands so badly.
It's
Like I
ridiculous.
was like, how do you? Yeah, it's amazing.
One of the best hurlers like in the country is actually half Chinese from Wexford.
Oh yeah,
Li Chin,
Li Chen, yeah.
who
I
should
watch hurling games. Yeah.
he should never ever ever wear a shirt ever again. The man has the body of a god. He picks a shirt, after a match, you see sometimes the guys swap jerseys and stuff. And like, Li Chin, why would you wear a shirt when you look like that? He's got this like 8-pack. He's just this.
Yeah.
Oh, ridiculous.
I haven't got a chance.
I would if
it's
it's well worth looking at. Li Chin with no shirt on. Trust me, it's an impressive setup.
I'll be Googling next.
No, you'll have to. The government won't allow it. I'm sorry, the government won't allow Li Chin.
No, I need to submit my Googling script first. Oh God.
It does,
Yeah.
it's always hard because I love the notion that comedies, because just like that, we're bringing comedy to the with the club here and stuff. There's people coming up going, I never thought of seeing, stand-up comedy. It was never on their radar. Like one old guy described it as like, I thought of comedians the same way I think of astronauts. I don't care, or I never cared. I just assumed they were there. But now I absolutely love stand-up, that kind of way. And to hear that at least, like you're saying in Shanghai, that it's okay, it's a little, you do have to, but eventually that will fade away, surely, as well. You know what I mean? To a point. Or do you see it just going, nah?
I don't see that coming. And also, for me, as the audience are also, how do you say, they're trained to watch filtered stuff.
Oh.
So I can see over the years, a lot of audience, they start to get more and more, like they can get offended by anything.
Oh, so it's not
like
getting
in China,
looser, it's getting tighter.
Level. Like if you're talking about like some people saying, oh, American, like the woke culture, whatever, like you can't say a lot of things, you can offend people. But in China, that's next level for me. Like comedy, if you watch it, you can see like people will get offended by like if you make joke about single people. And they're like, how dare you make jokes about single people? It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So it's like people are like watching, they're so used to watching so filtered content.
Right.
Then they start to, then they just can't tolerate anything that's not even, I wouldn't even call it edgy.
Yeah.
Like they would just like get offended by like simple jokes, like making fun of single people. Yeah, it's like that kind of stuff.
So anything outside their lane, they're like, no, not for me. Not for me.
Yeah. Because sometimes I like to do a little bit like darker jokes.
Yeah.
Like even I would tone it down way more for Chinese audience. But they're still like, whoa, like how did why did you just say that? They're like, they can't even. Yeah, so I can notice that change over the years for sure.
So getting tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
That's interesting because you think it would go although in saying that it got tight and tight here for a while. Not that I probably did myself no favors because I absolutely refused. I was like, this isn't natural, by the way, and this will all flip back the other way. And everybody, like I've older friends, like theater producers and stuff like that, were going, Jesus, we can't say this now in a play. We can't say. I went, it'll all flip back. It's not natural for humans to be this bound up. They're getting angry about things that aren't actually worth getting angry about. And
Yeah.
like I used to do a joke where I said, if you get stressed about words, you've clearly never been knocked out with a punch, because that's a real that's a real attitude adjuster. You wake up going, okay, yeah, I don't give a shit about anything anymore. That's
Yeah.
but you can see it now. It's all starting to melt away again because people. It's not natural for people to be that bound up now.
True.
China is in a very different place politically than Ireland is. But at the same time, there was a lot of the narratives were a government controlling thing. You knew they were. You could see it from like when you have a critical eye and you write material and stuff. So you have to stand back and look at it from an aerial point of view and go, hold on, that thought process is coming straight from the top, and kids are coming out with this rubbish now, and all of a sudden they're scared. But anytime I've ever been approached after a show, I'm like, off the clock. I'm off the clock. Good night. But I have a problem. Like, you know what you can do with your fucking problem, don't you? Stuff it back into your pocket because I don't care.
But that's interesting because for me, Irish people are like probably has the best sense of humor. Like I feel like Irish people are probably one of the best crowd in the world.
Oh yeah,
Bill Burr also said the same thing, right? Like you guys, your sense of humor just like next level. So for me, like what kind of jokes Irish people would get offended?
None. Like the truth of it is, it's such a small amount. This notion that, oh God, woke and cancel and everything. And I kept on saying, it's nobody. Nobody's actually offended. It's the emperor's new clothes. There is nobody. And if there is, it's such a small number of people probably with mental problems who are on the internet. Because in the thousands of people I would play to every couple of months, it's nobody in an audience, and sure as shit, it's almost nobody that will come up to you. But
that's so true. That's so true.
You'd see it. Like people don't care. People care about can they pay the mortgage and what's for dinner tomorrow. That's it. And anything like the darker the better in a lot of ways. Once you butter it up night, like if you come straight out like a sledgehammer, it's not funny. Then fair enough. But people, they don't care. They don't care. Like last night, the brand new host of the show, the Late Late Show, which is a long running show, Patrick Keelty, who's a comic.
Yeah.
I went on just before him. And he in fairness, I'd done the tech rehearsal on Tuesday night. And I went, oh, they're letting me off here a little bit. Because they didn't give me any guidelines. Just went, look, Tom, you know yourself. It's TV show. It's a government-owned TV show. So even though it won't be broadcast, I'm just a warm-up. But then he comes out. And because there'd been a bit of a scandal over the payment of the previous host, he comes out and just airs all the laundry on live on national television with brilliantly written jokes. He just comes out and goes, "Oh, brilliant!" And you see all the executives in the green room where I was standing, like, "Oh Jesus, oh Jesus!" And they're like, "Well, you signed the guy up for 2 seasons, and you signed the contract, so yeah." So he obviously signed up and went, "If you're going to put any collar on me or any you're going to try and gag me in any way, I ain't doing it." Because I was talking with him, how did you get away with it? And he went, I told him, I'm the captain of everything I say, and they can't pull me on anything. And he went, all right, okay. Yeah, so it was...
How did the audience react to that?
At first, it was like, oh, Jesus, are we allowed to laugh at this? But for the first couple of seconds, and then they just started rolling. They laughed because he just kept on laying it on, going, I ain't stopping for the next 3 or 4 minutes. So, and in fairness, I had pushed it a little for him earlier too, because it was like, I want to see what they can go, what will, to give him an idea that you're going to be laughing. Trust me, it's all in the face. It's all in the name of good humor. There's, and they did. And in fairness, he thanked me afterwards. He goes, thanks for digging into it. Because I went after him a little harder than I probably should have. But again, nobody said, Tom, because they haven't, I'm back for the next few weeks. They didn't go, right, Tom, you can go home. They didn't. It was, so awesome. But I'm definitely noticing, I think people are kind of for the longest time, they were looking left and right to see are they getting offended? Are they getting, and the only people that would ever get angry would be is if a company night, a company was out and like somebody
Yeah.
from HR, like some middle-aged woman from HR was sitting at the end of the row going, "Oh, I don't think we can say it. Is he allowed to say that?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, because it's funny. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
These are just words."
Yeah.
But now more
True.
and more, you go to north of Ireland, where I mean the comedy scene for such a it's only 400,000 people, 400,000 or 500,000 people in north of Ireland, which would be its own thing. And
Yeah.
every comic I know is selling out arenas now, 3, 4, 5,000 people. And it's like, because comedy has, like, it is bigger than religion, sport, everything now, stand-up comedy. It's on a level that's so ridiculous.
Wow.
And the darker you can go, I mean, the darker you can go, that's what people want. Because they're like,
Wow.
we've seen, they had war for 30 years and horrific things happen. So they're like, we've seen the worst of actual stuff. So you and your words,
Yeah.
you go for it. You go for it. Say the darkest
Yeah.
shit you want to say. And it doesn't matter. As dark as you can go, as disgusting as you can go, it doesn't matter.
You probably need more like one of those more edgy and darker jokes just to impress those people
Yeah.
too, because they've seen everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah, yeah. You go soft and start pandering about what's to do with airplane food. They're like, I don't give a shit about airplane food. Come on.
Yeah.
Even I've noticed myself when I go up there, it's like, all right, trying to rough up the edges here. And people appreciate it. They don't care. Last time I walked on stage, it was about a month ago, I was up there. And as I was walking to the stage, this middle-aged woman, in kind of not a gross way, but kind of an encouraging way, she slapped me across the ass. She was like, "Go get him, Tom." I'm like, okay.
Oh, did I just get me too?
I think it was the first thing I said, but no, I was like, is she allowed to do that? Because I don't mind. Should I be upset? Should I call somebody? Should I tweet about this? Should I? He was like, "Yeah, you tweet about that, you bitch." I'm like, okay. I loved
Was she drunk?
Probably a little, but she was, but it was just, she was a bit rough. I was like, okay, she bought a ticket. I don't care. She, fine. Slap my ass again if you want. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference. And it gave me my first 2 minutes to talk, so this, so it's interesting culturally how things, like, coming from your point of view, it's very, very, because I didn't know, because I know guys that have gone and done festivals in Hong Kong, which is loosey-goosey by comparison to what you're telling me. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Like, a lot of comedians went to Hong Kong to perform.
Yeah.
I remember there was one time Russell Peters came to Hong Kong. He came to, I don't even remember if he came to Shanghai or not. But who's that? The Irish guy,
Des Bishop.
No, not him. Oh, I really like him, but actually I'm forgetting his name. Black Book, the Black Book store.
Dylan Moran. Dylan Moran.
Moran, yeah. Dylan Moran came to Shanghai.
Did he?
I went to see him. Yeah.
And how? I suppose, yeah, because he's.
But he didn't do any of those, like the script submitting and all those. I don't think the club who got him there did any of those. And actually his show was pretty much interrupted, I remember. Like, he just wrapped it up really quickly because I think the police were coming or something like that. Yeah.
That's a dream of mine, that I'm saying something so wild that the police show up. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, they didn't show up, but I heard either the show got reported or something like that. I don't remember, but he had to wrap it up really fast. Because the show was kind of on the ground. But even like his materials are like mostly very, very, very clean.
Yeah, like his subject matters are clean. They are clean.
Oh yeah, very clean. And I can tell he was struggling with the Chinese crowd. Because first of all, he didn't expect that he had this much of fans in China.
You're right. Yeah, you wouldn't. Why would you?
No. No, but then he came, he was like, all these people show up for me. And then he just like started to tell his jokes. I think the first half was like very new materials, and a lot of people weren't laughing.
Yeah.
I think one point I can tell how confused he looked. Like he was like, why aren't they laughing? But I was just thinking, half of people here, they just here to see you. Their English level probably is like pretty low. Like they're just sitting here to see you because they love you. Yeah, but I can tell from a comedian's perspective, he's standing up there. Oh my God, these crowd hate me. Like they fucking hate me. But no, like I think half of them couldn't understand, and especially his jokes are so brilliantly written.
Yes.
It's like profound and all that. So it's I think it's hard for a lot of people to understand and follow really quickly. So second half he went down to have like 10 minutes rest. Second half he came up and he was very much telling old jokes.
Okay.
And I think the first half he was also even trying to slow down.
Yes, yeah.
Make the audience understand more. But second half he's like, I'm just gonna do my old jokes. Then he's doing it in the normal speed, and maybe also because he's rushing to wrap it up. So people were like laughing, like second half was great. Yeah, but I can tell how confused he was. Like he was really confused.
Yeah. I remember doing gigging in Barcelona, and it was it was kind of a square, it was a club, but there was kind of 3 sides around the stage of maybe, I suppose, 10 by 10 by 10. And this whole row of 10 people, they just looked solidly at me, and everybody else seemed to be enjoying the time. But I was like 5 minutes in, they were just staring, staring at me.
And I know those.
And I had to, is everything, because everybody around them seemed to be on board and having a good time. I was like, is everything okay here? Are you security or what is it? And the guy was looking at me, he's like, okay. I went, oh, do you speak any English? And they just started speaking Spanish amongst each other. And then the guy behind him went, I don't think they speak any. I said, what the fuck are you doing in the front row? They're like, we don't know. We just want to come out to see you, basically. I'm like, yeah, but you could have sat in the back row and seen me. Now I got to look at your faces for the next 50 minutes.
Yeah, that happens a lot, actually, because I have a lot of followers here in China. And sometimes I do shows, people are just here to watch me.
Great.
They don't really understand. So a lot of times they're sitting there just like this, just like just the stares. Then I'm just like, these people hate me. But then after the show, they're like, oh, we love you. Can we take a picture and all that? I'm like, okay, but tell me by your face.
Yes. Don't let your face stop it.
Hello. Sorry.
What happened? Are they onto us? Is that what it is?
No, I don't know. I think it's my because in China you the internet, you have to use VPN. So yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think that just broke off.
And with 27 million people in the one city, all wanting the internet.
Yeah. No, it's not easy. Yeah.
I have just a couple of single farmers on dating websites around here just to compete with, so it's fine. Look, I just in case. Well, do you know what? I won't take up too much more. I know it's late. It's like it must be almost midnight.
I'm a night owl. I sleep really late.
Oh, fair enough. But I won't take up any more time. Wait, so you are back at Christmas? You are back at Christmas in Ireland?
Well, yeah.
Hopefully going to catch you on the crack then. But you do so follow Dawn. It's Dawn Wong, isn't it? Because I just had you as Dawn Wong, but it is Dawn Wong on TikTok.
So YouTube is Dawn Wong, TikTok is Donnie the Chinese.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'll put a link to that one, and I want people to immediately go to see Dawn milking cows.
Thanks. Yes, that's worth seeing.
And I want you to repost it because we want to get Dawn on. Maybe when you're back at Christmas, we might get Ear to the Ground or Nationwide down to interview you and get you maybe driving tractors. Doing
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to do it.
Let's watch the Chinese woman driving around the Galway.
Shear sheep or something. I don't know.
Well, you used a shish there. All right. So shearing sheep with our shellfish stick. And
yeah, you better sharpen that shellfish stick. Yeah. It's so hard. It's really funny because I notice every time I come to Ireland, late, like in the, like especially like this time, for
Mm.
example, I will meet like older people, then will say, "Hey, your English got better."
Oh, your Irish English got better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
My Irish English got better. Yeah,
Because you're,
it's
well, what's
because
the crack?
I'll be meeting older people. I'm like, how are you keeping? I'll be
Yes.
saying all these things older people would say. So they're like, your English got better. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah, and I always give my husband the credit. They're always kind of like, your English got better. It's because of your husband.
Yeah, nothing to do with the
Yeah,
fact that you're trying to make it better yourself. Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, doesn't matter that I started learning.
They don't want us to continue. This is it, Dawn. They're on to us. Yes. Gotcha.
All right. Wow. This is hard.
In all fairness, they left us till almost the very end of the chat. So that's all right. We got a nice bit of chat
I know.
all.
Yeah.
But you
No, it's
do.
just my internet. It's my internet was because in China to access Zoom or Facebook or WhatsApp and Instagram, it's just pretty hard.
And what is it you need? You need a separate login outside of that, or what is it? Does it become to a point where it's almost illegal?
It is it is
Is it?
so you cannot cut this into the podcast. Yeah, it's called VPN.
Yes.
So what it does is it changes your IP address, so it makes them think you're for example, I'm in France.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, so that's how you log in, like those yeah.
Do you know what we should have
Those
done? We should have put a background filter on you just with the Eiffel Tower and the
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all the IT stuff. I bet your brother's part of it.
I bet you any money he
My
is.
brother-in-law, yeah.
I bet you any. Yeah, he's something to do with cybersecurity. That's all I know. I don't.
That's it.
Well, they seem to like him anyway. So for whatever reason, he seems to really like Shanghai. So I know he
Shanghai is brilliant. You should come visit.
it's definitely it's. I don't get overly awed by like people get all excited about the American stuff, and I've done the American thing. I lived there for a while and stuff like that, but it was so many places I don't get. But I've always been super interested in China. Just always wanted to
Yeah.
go. I mean, there's obviously
China is really interesting. It's really nice, especially Shanghai. It's so nice to live in. Like the lifestyle, everything. It's just one of the best.
my was it Shanghai? A friend of mine, Jim, he's a comic. He's an American comic. He lives here. He's lived here forever. But his wife, they travel, they travel everywhere. They go to the most obscure holidays. But they were in China recently, and they were taking photographs at something that you take photographs of. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
here.
you are. Where did it skip away to? Oh, sorry. It was recording the other part. Perfect. No, it was then downloading the previous. But they were taking photographs, as you do, of whatever monument they were in front of. And what happened was Chinese people the locals became very interested in Lisa, my Jim's wife, because she was the only blonde-haired, blue-eyed person there. So now they wanted photographs with her. She was like, because Jim almost has a sallow look. He has kind of Italian-American look. So it's like dark hair, nothing interesting for a Chinese person. Because it's like, you're not that far. But Lisa, they were like, we want a photograph with you. She's like, okay, all right. She does look very, very Nordic, even if even Irish, she looks quite Scandinavian, nearly just blonde hair, blue eyes, whatever. Like, where did you come
It's
from?
probably not in Shanghai though.
No, it wasn't Shanghai. It wasn't Shanghai. It was somewhere in China.
Because people in Shanghai, they're so used to seeing foreigners.
Yes, of course.
They're just like so used to it. Yeah.
But it was, but again, as Jim, he showed me the video of it. When he looked around, he was like, "Oh yes, we are the only foreigners here." Totally.
Oh wow.
Yeah, totally. Like there was hundreds of people, and they were clearly the only people who weren't Asian. Anyway, that's for sure. So, but
you see, like Chinese people aren't really outgoing in that way. Like I always say Chinese people are introvert. but they're really outgoing in that way. Like when they see foreigners, they're very happy to like welcome. They welcome everybody. They welcome people who are from different culture. And they're so interested. Like we are very interested in people who are from different background or culture, and just desperate to show them like how to say how warm Chinese people are.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the vast culture that there is there, you don't even, for how much history and everything in China, you almost don't even need to chat to foreign people because there's that much stuff. Good God. And it's so
Yeah.
huge.
It's more kind of like we want to show other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to show other people like we want them to have a great time in China.
And
Like
also
people,
too, I suppose, given the, I'm trying to choose my words correctly, the position that the government has, I guess the general public kind of want to go, oh, no. We're cool. We're fine. We're really fun and warm people. Come on. You could absolutely see happening. Like, this is for the longest.
I think at one point is, Chinese people or most Chinese people, I would say, are fine with how the governments are run. Like it's run here. They're they're totally fine. But like as a person, I sometimes find myself like in between.
Right.
Like I'm westernized, and I was born and raised here.
Yes.
So, and I love all the Western culture, and also I love my own country. But then I look at, sometimes if you look at like Western media reporting things about China, I'm like, what? That's not even like, I've never even, that's not true. Like this kind of, there's a lot of this kind of how would I say? It's not even misunderstanding. It's just like it's kind of like we felt like we're misrepresented in a lot of way. Yeah. But like especially coming to reporting of a lot of culture things in China or whatever, like political things, like we don't really, like Chinese people don't really read a lot about it. But I think Western media don't always show the true side of China sometimes.
Oh, for sure. You could
Like
absolutely
sometimes
see.
I would be reading an article, then I'm like, this is completely not true. Like this is not, like they would say something about Chinese people or whatever. Like it's just completely not true.
So
Like
what?
I work in film industry, documentary industry, and sometimes I will have like foreign production come into China, and they will always want me to show them like the places that Chinese people don't even go. Then they will go there to film. Then I will see it later on like a Western media TV or something. It's just like, no, that's not even. Yeah, it's just kind of weird in a way. So I think Chinese people sometimes are a little bit too desperate sometimes, just wanting to show Western people like the best side of us sometimes.
It's
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
how the West like is. It's not the standard bearer is not the right word, but it's almost like so many other nationalities, from whether it's the Middle East or the Far East or whatever. There seems to be almost an effort to go, no, we're really cool. Whereas, in my opinion, you should just not care.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Exactly.
whatever you do,
Yeah.
you do you. We've been doing us for like 10,000 years. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
We've been doing this a long time. We're okay. We
Yeah.
were, you know. But I suppose that, I mean, when we speak Western culture, it is Americanisms is what we're talking about, really. Like, we're just where
Yeah.
that it kind of withers me here in Ireland when I hear Irish kids coming out with American, and getting overly interested in American politics. I'm like, they don't care about our politics. So why in the Christ? I know it's an interesting story, Pete, to see Joe Biden bumbling over sentences and whatever, but why do you care?
Yeah.
It just seems to be a very easy thing for Irish people, especially to lap up, because we're right next door to America. But America doesn't care about us. So why would you care about
Yeah.
what they have to say? Like, because half of America still thinks we're wandering around in the dirt, only hoping for electricity,
Yeah. Yeah. That's sometimes I go to like Western countries and peep the questions people ask me, I'm just like, where did you even read about that? Where did you even learn about that? Like people would ask me really weird questions like, oh, does China has like slippers? I'm like, we make them, bitch. Like that's what we make all your slippers. Like
Pretty much
yeah, like
look
this kind of
around
stuff.
if I looked all around my studio right now, I pretty much 98% of things here probably came from a district somewhere in China.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like people ask me questions like, "Oh, you live on the 30th floor. Do you have an elevator?" Like I'm like, "What?"
No,
Like,
no,
yeah,
I climbed up on a rope. It's what I do.
that's what we call gym. Yeah, that's my stairs. Like it's really interesting. And I find what Irish people always ask me this, "Oh, how's weather in China?" I'm like,
Listen,
"That's a big ass country."
don't take that personally. It's like
No,
people
I know, I know, I know. Yeah,
it's our
I
number
always find that
one.
really funny.
It's our number one. Yeah, it's snowing in a lot of it and really fucking hot in the other bit of it. Because that's how
Yeah.
big of a country it
You
is.
know?
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, people don't grab. But then again, in Ireland, you can have 4 seasons in one day. So, and you know,
That's
your husband
true.
is from the west of Ireland, which just has sideways rain all the time. So it's coming
I
in off the
know.
Atlantic. It's a
Like you guys always say you like summer, summer. I'm like, that's not summer. Like
no.
you can't wear, yeah. Yeah.
We had 2 weeks of summer, and that's it. We have no more. It got to 26 degrees for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and that's it. We're back to the rain now and 12 degrees. So
That's why you always talk about weather
yeah,
all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's because it is so changing. Like but I mean, like that same when I lived in America, the amount of times I got complimented for how good my English was. Like, oh, thank you, thank you. I've been trying really hard.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and that's where they're at, for so many parts because and even from state to state, you get it. But same in England. You go to England and they're like, you meet people in England, their media is so closed off and one-sided
Yeah.
that they will say the most ludicrous. Like I've had people who listen to this podcast go, would I be safe if I went to Ireland because I've got an English accent? Like, what? Half of Ireland is English people now because they've all escaped the English setup to move here, and open a
Well,
petting zoo.
they might call you like British cons or something.
Yeah. Oh,
They won't. They won't. Yeah.
but
That's funny.
but it is media, like it does close its doors, and it's like, well, it's just an easy narrative to run with the same old thing we've been saying about China for years, because heaven forbid we try and say something progressive or new about it, because we'd actually have to
Yeah.
put in some work and go there for a few weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know if like Chinese people, not even Chinese people, like if foreigners who live in China, like you post something good about China, like, hey, look how clean the city is or something. You post that on TikTok or on Instagram, then they would in the mark down the video, there's marking would say this is from China state media, even though you're not state media at all.
Really? They take ownership
Yeah.
of it? Wow.
Like they just, yeah, it's like two extremes. Like in Western media you can't talk anything good about China. Like on YouTube you could get like even your account could get banned if you talk good things about China sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, and here in China it's also sometimes another extreme, which I won't go into. Yeah. Mhm. So it's really interesting. Sometimes I find myself caught in between because I would love because everywhere is like globalism. It's we benefit from so much from it,
Yeah, of course.
but then just seeing these two extremes going further and further, sometimes just really it pains me to see it for sure. Yeah.
I met a group of Chinese people. It was early last week. They were in our local town. They were here actually. They were executives from some beef company. It's big beef
Oh,
country here where I live, and there's a
yeah.
big beef. But they were buying a lot of beef, but they were quite excited. But they were so, because this place where we are has a lot of medieval castles, and the town
Yeah.
right here has, the whole town is built around a medieval castle. But to see their admiration for it, they were like, we had no idea. We had no idea that you had castles. I went, yeah, like you've castles too,
What?
but again, these were people who had never. They knew that Ireland did business and stuff, and that we had a lot of cows, but they were
Yeah.
like, and they knew they were coming here for business, but at the same time, they hadn't wrapped it, they hadn't thought about anything to do with Ireland, nothing at all.
No.
But then
No. Yeah.
their utter excitement then at, well, this is absolutely beautiful. You have castles, great,
Oh yeah.
you know. But
Ireland is so beautiful.
Ireland
Yeah.
hadn't been sold to them in any way at all, like, you know. So they were, you could see one guy was nearly like, we should probably set up a business of tourism for wealthy Chinese people to come here. They would love it.
Yeah. Yeah, they would. They would. Ireland is just so beautiful, and the scenery and everything, the castles especially.
Well, I think,
Like it's something that you don't see in China. Like we have our own historical stuff, but in Ireland, it's like a completely different kind of beauty. Especially, I see how Ireland's always keeping your like ruins. I just
yeah,
love that. Like the
yeah.
ruins are just so beautiful. But in China, ruins are it's just either getting fixed into some like newly built historical building because they are trying to restore it.
All right.
But I just love how our Ireland just kept the way that ruin is.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
that's just
yeah.
raw and beautiful. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the history is lost on it if you're going to build onto it. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like, come on, just leave it as it is. It's okay. But yeah, I mean,
I know.
it's very, very strict here. If you ever attempted, there's actually something I saw the other day, and I won't, and on basis of that, you would absolutely love it. It's an old house, and this is one of the
Mm.
coolest pieces of art I've ever seen. It's just, I don't know how I've missed it for so many years, but it's just, there's no ceremony with it. There's no plaque. There's no sign to tell you. But when I looked in, it was an old square cottage, and the roof is gone off, you know, for years.
Oh,
It might be
yeah.
200 years, right? But what they did was they obviously put the stone all back together. So it's the shape of a house with two triangular bits at the end, two peaks at the end. But the last maybe, I don't know, maybe 600 millimeters of stones, they're all old stones. What they did was they've drilled down through them with steel bars, and they've raised them up. They've raised it like they've actually lifted them up from each other, so you can actually see through at different levels. So it looks like the house is, you know, if you can imagine like Tetris, you know, the old video game where
Yeah.
the blocks
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
So it looks like the house is falling into shape, the way they've done the stone. I'm like, that now that's what you do with a ruin. If you're gonna do something with an old ruin, that's what
Yeah.
you do with a ruin. It
That's
was just
cool.
a subtle piece of art where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that is tastefully done. Nothing else needs to be done. But I stopped it. I was looking at it for a good 40 minutes going, brilliant, absolute genius move. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's I think the notions of the permissions you need to touch anything previous, like 100 years previous, forget about it. You ain't getting at it. It's all controlled by one government body, and you just don't get at it. It's as simple as that.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of course they had people wanting to buy them and make them fucking British
Oh, yeah.
Starbucks or whatever. You're like, no,
Yeah.
you can't. But
Yeah.
Shanghai is definitely on the bucket list. It is the place because my in-laws have been there, and they were like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they loved it. You know, when you listen to
Wow.
your in-laws' stories, and you go, I've definitely heard this 1,400 times before, but this is a story this of being in China where they have told it many, many times. But it's intrigued me since. I'm like, okay, all right. Looks like we'll have to
Yeah.
go to China. So
You should see it. Yeah. It's a highly functional, like if you come to even many cities in China, it's just like highly functional government. That's
yeah,
why even with the high, the high pressure from the government, people still just kind of had a lot of them just don't have a problem with it
because it works
because
well.
everything is high. It works so well. Like
Yeah,
if you come, you see this how the city is running, how the government, like people's life is so convenient, and you're just like, wow, this is really great. But obviously we struggle with a lot of other things.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
to
But it's
find
cool. It's definitely cool to see it. Yeah.
to see the fine balance of that, like it's almost it sounds like who has found a really good balance is, say, someplace like Munich.
Mm,
It's run really well, but it's a bit, it's a bit bohemian and cool as well, and you can kind of do what you want. A couple of my friends, they will never move home. They've been to Munich and they're like, once. It's like, that's it. This place is perfect.
really?
Oh, perfect. Like
Wow.
everything runs exactly as it's supposed to be, and yet it's really good fun as well. There's a wildness to it as well at the same time. When like
Yeah.
Oktoberfest comes around, it's just all bets are off because it's a month of going crazy drinking beer. Like, but
Yeah.
the fact that the government have just enough input that everything runs really, really well, so people are
Yeah.
okay with it. So I get, yeah, there could be more high quality input here. We could do with some Chinese input here, to be honest with you, and sorting out a few things. Was like, oh Jesus
Yeah,
Christ,
maybe.
who did you leave building that up to? Christ Almighty! But there's
Well, let us bring you capitalism.
a lo-
Capitalism. Let us bring you that.
right,
It's
okay,
funny. Chinese have to introduce you that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, in fairness, the Americans and the British have been trying it a long time, and it's still not
that's
really working.
true.
Still not really
That's
working.
true.
Irish people
That's
don't.
that's really cool. Actually, in Ireland, you see your own like local home brand, and your local small businesses are so protected.
Oh,
Like,
and it's
there's not a lot of big corporates. I don't see that kind of stuff.
well, we were going
Yeah.
that way, and just naturally, I think Irish people kind of deflect. Not the, and there wasn't an outcry. There's too many fucking Starbucks. It wasn't. It just seemed to be cooler when if Dawn's coffee shop opened up next to uh, you go, I'm going to Dawn's because Dawn actually gives a shit. And that was the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chances are
Yeah.
Dawn has better coffee too, because it's like, because
Yeah.
you go in and people would go that extra mile because the kid working in Starbucks doesn't give a shit. It's like,
I
I
know.
don't know where this coffee came from. I don't care.
Yeah.
They're tweeting, they're on Instagram or whatever. Whereas if you go into, John and Mary's, bakery next door, that there's because the quality of product
Exactly.
coming out of Ireland is good quality stuff because it's all based
Yeah.
from our high quality, high agriculture or whatever. So when it's any product, typically and it just happened again during the early 2000s. We all went, we need to be super cool and get for all American and British things. And then after a while, I went, oh no, this doesn't suit us at all. This doesn't suit us. We all sound like a bunch of wankers, which is what we, with a 7-year period of being total wankers in Ireland. And then thankfully it reverted back to normal again.
That's really great. Like, even meeting Irish people abroad, for example, in China, like, you see how Irish people just kept their own
Uh,
everything, personality, culture. Like, they do their own GAA training in Shanghai or in Singapore, like in other countries. It's just like Irish people if you meet them, they're so different. Like, they
it's,
kept their own Irish culture and their humility and everything. Like, they're just so
it seems,
they're just like
it,
the best people you can meet here.
it seems to be a minority that seem to lean in the opposite direction and go heavy capital. It seems to be a minority of people. The vast majority, it seems to be far more accepted. And cool is the wrong word because you'll never get applauded for it. Because Irish people will never, they'll never go, well done for actually keeping your culture. It's just like, yeah, don't be a dickhead. That's
Yeah.
just, just don't be a
Yeah.
dickhead. Just
Yeah.
stop being a dickhead. You're a dickhead right now, and your friends are
Yeah.
absolutely allowed to call you out on it. That's number one. If you're
That's
being,
the thing.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I still get shocked when I see people going over the top and verbose with like a ridiculous car or ridiculous clothing and stuff. You're like, what is going on here? You're obviously trying to compensate for something because
Yeah.
that's not an Irish thing to be doing. Because your friends immediately, if you turn up
Yeah.
with, a $500 or $700 or $1,000 jacket, you expect your friends to go, take that fucking thing home because you're not coming out with us wearing that thing. No,
Yeah.
you dickhead. You know,
Yeah.
and it should be allowed. It's a healthy place to be called out by your friends to keep you in line.
That's true. That's so true. Yeah. Irish people are so down to earth. That's like one of the things that you don't really see in many cultures.
Well,
Yeah.
there's too far too, where where it's like, don't stick your head above the parapet just in case people think you're being a bit crazy, so there's again a fine balance to be found, and I think most to a degree most people right now, especially, it's actually a glorious time right now. I notice because culturally, again, watching culture and writing about it and stuff like that, I notice, especially since the pandemic and stuff, nobody gives a shit about anything. There is nobody married to anything anymore. It's not
Yeah.
that it's gone lawless. I mean, just nobody seems to give a shit about your style. Nobody cares about anything.
Mm,
It's like you do you, because look, we
yeah.
were we were locked in the house for 2 years. And actually, do you know what? If you want to be kind of weird, just be weird. Just whatever. Just what just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
The main thing is don't be a dickhead. Simple as that. It's
Yeah.
just if you can not be a dickhead, that'd be
True.
great.
That's true. Yeah. Very interesting. I'm
Right.
very interested to see if China would one day also go into that direction too.
I wonder naturally, I wonder are humans just pre-programmed to go in that direction eventually? I wonder. Do you know, but
Yeah.
then again, it probably takes an upheaval of some sort. But if things are running right, you can't ask, it's not, there won't be a revolution unless people's food sources and stuff are taken away. But if you're doing a good job of running a city, people are, people can be go, oh, all right, okay. It's not bothering me, so
Yeah.
let's keep going,
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Yeah. That's true.
but also
Yeah.
in one way, from my point of view, other people's point of view, like you telling me this stuff is very, very interesting. It
Hmm.
makes it like the last thing we want is China to be like us, because we want to be us, and and be in, keep China interesting. Like, so yeah, you've got the best of both worlds. You can go farming anytime you want. You can just go, you know what? I'm done with China. Let's move to the west of Ireland with our shellfish sticks.
Yeah. My husband said I could never like become a farmer because I'm too attached to the animals.
Oh yes, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
He
mean,
always say that.
it's a pity they
Like
end up being so delicious. It's a pity.
yeah. Every time I go to Ireland, I'm always taking pictures of the cows, the horses, the sheep. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I find them really beautiful.
Well, like I said, I met a group of Chinese people who, while they assumed, I'm sure, assuming they thought the cows were absolutely beautiful, they were more than happy to buy them in parts and bring them back to China.
I know. After
Come on.
all, money counts.
It's a
Yeah.
tremendous
That's
thing
true.
when, in fairness, the local economy is more than happy to send as many cows as
Oh
China
yeah.
wants. They'll send them
For
to them.
sure.
No problem.
For sure.
By any chance,
Yeah.
are you hungry, China? Yes, fine. We've got lots of beef for you. Yeah, no problem.
Really good beef too. Like your
Yeah.
cows are just like running out freely. Like I love that.
Well, that's the one thing that seems to be that have had cousins who live in the States and stuff like that, and even British people coming up going, how is it so tasty? It's like because we have so much space and green, we
Yeah.
don't have to feed them corn, or we don't have to
I
feed them
know.
pump them with any weight. They're fine. They'll just eat lots
Yeah.
of the green stuff, and that's kind of apparently what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
it does, but I mean, again, it's pretty much the backbone of the the economy here. Even though we're big on tech, and we have Google have their head offices, I guess Facebook and whoever else is here have their head offices
Mhm.
here, which is fine. But like the backbone, I think it's like a third of the economy can all be traced to agriculture. So
Really?
yeah, it's something huge. It's a huge number anyway. Of the economy can be. It's something along those lines. It was up until a couple of years ago. A third can be traced to agriculture. So you kind of can't do without the farmers.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And you have the beautiful green land. It's such a waste not to use them too.
Ah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if we were to apparently we're to take European directives and kill 200 cattle. We're to cull 200,000 cattle from the national herd is supposed to be taken out because of greenhouse gases. You're like, okay,
Oh, right.
okay.
Wow. Wow.
But that would leave us at a shortfall of eating our own beef, so we'd have to buy in beef. So I mean, so somebody else
Wow.
can grow it somewhere
I didn't
else,
know that.
and their methane gases, because we're on a different planet, of course, to somebody else that will grow it. Like the farmers are just going, what, what? It's
Yeah.
so there's good and bad of being part of it. Like, but I do see, like, while Irish people are nice and stuff like that, it gets to a certain point where there is still a history of revolution, And you can kind of see the farmers at the minute are going, no, 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 that's it. We're not bending to that one at all. Like, and there could be, I would imagine the government are going to have to rethink a few things at the minute. Like if you're like your in-laws would be watching it closely, like if they're cow people, so they would be up in arms. Like they stopped a bunch of traffic recently. Like there's government ministers, huge protests happening because of these ludicrous levels. That, and all it is not, they're not coming up with it. It's Europe, because we're part of the European Union. They're going, I think Ireland should have less cows. They're going, what? No.
Wow.
Yeah. It's getting very, very silly to a degree because, but again, I would imagine you're talking about country people who have no problem in revolting. Like, so
No.
oh no, there's no problem, because especially when you live in the countryside, and this is talking to my city friends, they're like, how do you know how everything about how do you fix cars? Because here in the countryside, you grow up and there isn't a man to call. You don't ring the car guy. You didn't when I was like, you didn't, if something broke, you learned how to fix the fucking thing. You learned how to fix it because there was nobody to be calling, or it just stayed broke, one or the other.
Yeah.
Whereas in the city,
Yeah.
my friends, and they're looking at the wrong end of a hammer. They're like, how do you put up a shelf? Like, how did you get this far in life and not know how to build shit? But it's because in the countryside. So essentially,
I know. Yeah.
if the city turns its back on the countryside, it'll still be fine. That's why during lockdown and all these lockdowns and stuff, nothing changed in the countryside. Nothing. Everybody traveled
That's so true.
everybody
Yeah.
traveled just as much as they always did. They went where they wanted to, because they were like, no, you do you, and we'll just stay doing us, and we'll just keep being okay. All right. There was
You just can't drop by a neighbor's house whenever you want, I guess. Back then.
Well, technically you weren't supposed to, but when there's
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Like I can't even drive. Like growing up in the city,
you don't
I
need
don't
to.
even have no, I don't even, yeah, exactly. So that's one of the things, like, wow, when you go to the countryside, you're like, I can't go anywhere. Like even going to a convenience store,
Yeah.
you know.
And
Yeah,
I learned to drive at age 7.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Now it is obscure even for a country kid to be learning at 7.
It is, yeah.
But I would immediately, by age 10, I was a productive member of the society. I could drive a tractor. And they were like, okay, the small tractor and that field needs work. So send a 10-year-old, get him to go do it. So you're like, because you got to grow up pretty fucking quick, because there's only so much time you can do this kiddie shit. We've become where you're not useful. You're like, but you've got 2 legs and 2 arms and you need to become fucking useful quickly. So by the time you get to college and all your friends are like, God, I don't know about a job. You're like, a fucking job. I mean, a job. I've been doing 14-hour days since I was 10. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
true.
That's
Really funny because everybody, like especially comedians, always make jokes about like China's child labor, right?
Mm.
But then I'm always like talking to Western people. I'm like, oh wow, when did you start working? Like, because in China it's like impossible. Like when I was 16, I wanted to find some like waiter job just to kind of exercise myself, but like nobody would hire you because it's illegal. But then I talked to like Western people, they're always like, oh, I started working since I was like 12 or something. I'm like, how? Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
That is, and it is almost a running joke. Okay, child labor and all the rest in China, but yeah, absolute no countryside. Whatever about even in the cities?
You guys are child laborers.
But you have to. Like, there is no. Oh, I don't feel like it today. It's like, you don't fucking feel like it today, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what? How about throw your Xbox off the wall? How about that? You want to go work?
Wow. What kind of child labor has Xbox?
Well, you know what I mean? There just isn't the option. They're just and you're not raised in that. Well, I sure as shit, and most of my friends weren't either. You weren't raised with an option. So you actually there was then an element of pride and just duty of, oh yeah, you get up, or when you come home from school, there's work to be done. There'll always be something to be done, because again, you're dealing with larger areas too. Like, whereas my friends in cities, if they did grow up in a house, they grew up on something that maybe 1/10 of an acre. Whereas we would have grown
Mhm.
up on 150 acres, that kind of like to that,
Yeah.
and all that shit needs work, so
Oh, it's hard work. Yeah.
there's always something to be done.
Yeah.
It's, but look, I'm not going to keep you any longer. This was absolutely brilliant. I've never, this is the first. This is the first somebody actually all the way in China. This is the first.
Ah,
Yeah.
yay.
We had
The
Kuala Lumpur.
only Chinese in the village and the only Chinese in Tom's podcast.
This is tremendous. We're going to, yes, we're still the only China, that has to be your sitcom. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
But it writes itself. You landed the farm in west of Ireland. Like,
Yeah. And to start writing some scripts and find the Irish Netflix to to take me in.
well, Netflix are here. They have offices here. So you could just,
All right. The only Chinese in the village.
and exactly, you're genuine. You're not like some, American person, pretending to be Chinese. Like, you're actually Chinese and you actually
Yeah, I'm
have an Irish husband.
Chinese.
The thing
Yeah,
actually writes itself.
I know.
God, there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of potential.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Dawn, this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah. Great pleasure. Thank you so much, Tom.